Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever literally felt your heart pounding against your ribs the moment you sit down across from a hiring manager, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're looking at a pretty incredible framework. It's designed to take all that interview anxiety and totally transform it into a confident, poised conversation. We're going to strip away all the guesswork and look at the exact steps that turn a nerve-wracking interrogation into an absolute opportunity to shine.
So, picture this. You're right there, sitting in the hot seat. The interviewer leans in, looks you dead in the eye, and asks, "What if your manager says your work isn't good enough?" Wow, it's an intense confrontational question, right? It's literally designed to test your ego and your composure. Okay, let's dive into this, because by the end of this explainer, we're going to unpack a rock-solid framework that makes answering intense curveballs like this feel completely natural.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with mastering the classic questions, then look at right versus wrong answers. After that, surviving the toughest tests, navigating behavioral traps, and finally, we'll wrap up with the rapid-fire round. Having this structure is going to bring you some immediate relief. Let's get started.
Starting off with Section 1, mastering the classic questions and finding the exact words to win.
Take the total classic. Why do you want to work for us? It's so easy to be vague here, but hitting specific keywords, that's a real game changer. When you mention being drawn to their industry-leading reputation, you're showing a deep respect for the company's status. And by adding that you value a supportive work environment that empowers growth, you immediately signal your own personal drive. You're essentially telling them, hey, I admire where you are and I want to grow right alongside you.
Then, of course, there's the dreaded 5-year question. Instead of just rambling, we can map it out on a clear timeline. In year 1, your goal is to become a seasoned expert in the department. By year 3, you're looking to take on advanced responsibilities, maybe even a leadership role. And by year 5, you're mentoring new hires and driving the firm's long-term objectives. And this brilliantly illustrates how breaking things down proves your ambition, your loyalty, and your forward-thinking progress.
Moving into Section 2, the right versus wrong answers, and creating some much-needed contrast.
So, how do you resolve conflicts? Well, the wrong answer here is I avoid them. Sure, it might feel safe to say, but it sounds incredibly passive. The right answer? I listen patiently to everyone and work towards a fair solution. Seeing this contrast is super helpful. It shows that avoiding conflict just sounds like you're hiding, whereas listening patiently highlights active problem solving and real emotional maturity. You aren't running from the fire. You're the one calmly putting it out.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the winning answer shifts the entire focus. When asked how you adapt to change, saying change is difficult focuses entirely on your own internal emotional struggle. But saying, I stay flexible, find solutions, and focus on what I can control completely shifts the narrative over to actionable control. You're proving that you don't just get paralyzed when the environment shifts around you.
And what about learning new skills? Look, saying I'm too busy is an instant red flag. Companies are absolutely desperate for lifelong learners. The correct approach is, I take small steps daily to improve and keep learning. It's simple, but it proves personal accountability. You're taking true ownership of your growth without making a single excuse about not having enough time.
All right, Section 3, surviving the toughest tests. Welcome to the HR hot seat. Things are about to get a little tricky.
Hearing a hiring manager say, "You don't have enough experience, why should we hire you?" Honestly, that can be devastating. I know this is a massive source of anxiety, especially for recent grads or anyone attempting a career pivot. It feels like they've already disqualified you right there on the spot. But remember, if they didn't think you had potential, you wouldn't even be sitting in that chair.
So here's exactly how you relieve that tension with a clean, direct response. You just say, while I am still developing my experience, I am a fast learner, adapt quickly, and bring a strong sense of dedication and work ethic. It's brilliant. It acknowledges their concern without apologizing for it, and it immediately pivots what seems like a weakness into a testament of your hustle and adaptability.
Let's move to and see how this builds when they throw another high-stakes trap your way. What if you fail during an important project? They are actively testing your resilience here. They really just want to know if you're going to hide your mistakes or start pointing fingers at everyone else. You survive this one by walking them through a very precise 4-step survival guide. Step 1, remain calm. Step 2, take responsibility. Step 3, resolve the issue promptly. And Step 4, learn from the experience so it doesn't happen again. Notice what this does. It shows that HR isn't actually looking for perfection, they're looking for accountability and damage control. Mistakes are just lessons when you actually act on them.
Which brings us to Section 4, navigating behavioral traps by working smart. When they ask how you manage your time, you give them the mechanics. You tell them you focus on priorities, set clear deadlines, and avoid distractions. But then, you hit them with a core belief. Busy isn't productive. Focused is. So the crucial point is that this phrase is exactly the kind of memorable, mindset-driven answer that sticks with an interviewer long after you've left the room.
And when it comes to dealing with difficult people, your framework is solid. Stay calm, listen first, and focus on solutions instead of emotions, all while using respect and clarity. The mini-narrative you're building here proves to the interviewer that you are a stabilizing force on a team. You're not the person getting swept up in workplace drama, you're the professional who resolves it.
And finally, Section 5, the rapid-fire round. We're stripping away all the complexity here to prove that less is definitely more. Why do you want this job? Your answer, it aligns with my skills. Boom. The absolute power of brevity and directness. You really don't need a 5-minute monologue for this.
Next one, why are you changing jobs? Answer, for growth opportunities. Just 3 words. It keeps the momentum super high, and it perfectly deflects any negativity you might have about past employers or bad bosses. Why do you want to grow professionally? Answer, to add more value. Pointing this out, these super short, value-driven statements leave absolutely no room for the interviewer to doubt your intentions. It's just pure, concentrated professionalism.
And the ultimate test. Why should we trust you? Your answer? I take responsibility. Ending on this punchy, highly confident note proves that panic is entirely unnecessary when you actually know your core values. You don't need to over-explain anything when you possess genuine accountability.
So there you have it. You now have the exact words, the timelines, and the mindset to navigate absolutely any curveball they throw at you. So I'll leave you with one final provocative question. Are you ready to win your next interview? Because with this framework in your back pocket, you absolutely are. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go out there and absolutely crush that conversation.